In fact, what Herzl is all about is reconstructing the bonds of loyalty among the Jewish people, the mutual bonds of loyalty that tie us one to another and make us a nation, and that tie us to the texts of our past and to the vision of the future that we inherit. He even writes in his diary about God. He says, I want to bring up my children with what might be called the historical God. I can conceive of an omnipresent will, for I see it at work in the physical world. I see it as I can see the functioning of a muscle. The world is the body and God is the functioning of it. The ultimate purpose I do not need to know. For me, it is enough that it is something much higher. And with regard to the Jewish state, he writes, by means of our state, we can educate our people to tasks which still lie beyond the horizon. We can't even imagine them. For God would not have preserved our people for so long if we did not have yet another destiny in the history of mankind. Remember this. This is Herzl. Herzl is a man with contempt for Jews who assimilate. He considers it to be treason to convert to Christianity. Treason. He won't allow converts to Christianity to be members of the Zionist organization. He wants the Jews to be loyal. Different Jews will be loyal in different ways. But they all have the same common vision in general, the same common goal that we've inherited. And he admires the Jews of the Middle Ages. He writes, the atrocities of the Middle Ages were unprecedented, and the people who withstood those tortures must have had some great strength and inner unity that we have lost. Listen to that again. The Orthodox Jews of the Middle Ages had some great strength and an inner unity that we have lost. We modern people, in our modern countries and our modern suits and our modern ideas, what we don't have is an inner wholeness. A generation which has grown apart from Judaism does not have this unity inside. We're torn up and confused. We don't know which way to go. This generation can neither rely on our past, nor can it look to our future. That is why we shall once more retreat into Judaism and never again permit ourselves to be thrown out of this fortress. We shall thereby regain our lost inner wholeness, and along with it a little character, our own character, not a Morano-like, borrowed, untruthful character, but our own. Right? This is Jewish nationalism. You can say, oh, Yoram, there are many different varieties of Zionism, there are many different varieties of Jewish nationalism, but they all have this in common. This is the fundamental root of it. Looking to saying, we've gone out into the world, we've done our best, we've become Germans and we've become Americans and we've become English and we've become all sorts of things. But what we've lost is the thing that is most fundamentally who and what we are. And there is no way to make that up other than to reach back to the past, to connect to it, and to use that to build our future. This is a wholesale denial of the claim that all you need is freedom. All you need is individual freedom. You'll just make all the decisions yourself, and then everything will be fine. It's a denial of all you need is individual liberties, because he's saying, no, you need something more. You need to be a part of your nation and to take part in the fulfillment of its mission. And that's not something, look, you have the choice. You can choose to be in or out. You can choose to be distant or closer. You can choose to move to Israel, or you can choose to stay in New York. You can choose those things. But what you cannot do is you cannot choose who your people is, what its history was, what its needs are, and therefore what the mission is that you need to take up in your life right now. That you cannot choose. That's just a fact. And there's two kinds of people. There's the kind of people who say, well, I'm just not fine. So look, I deny that fact, or I accept it, but I'm just too weak. I'm just going to do other things. And the kind of people who face up to the fact and say, this is on me. This is on me. And listen to the way he talks about Judaism as a fortress. Today, everything is about bringing walls down, tearing down the walls. And he says no. Herzl says no. He says, no, build up those walls, because those walls make you who you are. They give you some substance that makes you different from everybody else. He says, some real character, our own character, not a Murano-borrowed character, not a pretend character, like the character when you walk around and you're just like everybody else wherever you happen to live, but a character that's actually something that's yours. Now, lest you think that, he's just some kind of like, nutto arch-conservative like I am, he says as clearly as you want, we too want to work. This is the same essay. He stops to say, look, we too want to work for the improvement of conditions in the world, right? We want to compete in the sciences and the arts and humanitarian projects and being philanthropists and helping others. We're going to do all of that. We want to do all of that. But we want to do it as Jews. And only once we're Jews will we know what it is exactly that we're supposed to do.